This cat was a true mischief maker. Over the span of just a month, it managed to run off with hundreds of gloves from a construction site. By day, it would casually stroll in, scouting for where gloves were left. And by night, double down on its work, dashing away as soon as it had a glove in its mouth. The poor construction workers were left scratching their heads, frustrated and completely baffled by this bizarre glove bandit. But why would this cat go to such lengths to steal gloves? To get to the bottom of this mystery, a journalist was called in to investigate. After hours of anticipation in the dark, the feline culprit finally appeared. Moving stealthily, it scanned its surroundings and noticed it was being watched. Immediately, it became even more cautious, put a pause on its mission, and pretended to play by itself. Then, just as the investigation crew let their guard down for a moment, the cat darted into the construction site. By the time the journalist caught up, the cat already had a glove firmly clamped in its mouth. Once spotted, it made a swift getaway from the crime scene, vanishing into the night. A few minutes later, they spotted it again, that time racing away with another glove. Before they could act, the cat leapt onto a wall and disappeared into the yard of a nearby house. With no other choice, the journalist called it a night and decided to pick up the search the next day. When morning came, they headed to the house where the cat had disappeared, only to be greeted by an astonishing sight. A mountain of gloves piled up right there in the yard. The woman who lived there explained that she'd been finding gloves in her yard every day. Initially, she was quite upset, thinking someone was playing pranks by tossing used gloves into her yard. But after keeping an eye on things, she realized it was the cat. Turns out this cat hadn't always been so mischievous, or so round. It used to be a skinny little stray. The woman felt sorry for it and began feeding it, and before long, it had blossomed into the chubby, cheeky feline it is today. To show its gratitude, the cat started bringing gifts home, mice, bugs, and other little surprises. But when the woman didn't seem too interested in these offerings, the cat picked up on something. She always wore gloves while cleaning the yard. To the cat, that only meant one thing: gloves were the ultimate gift. From then on, it became a mission. Day and night, it snuck into the construction site, putting in extra hours to bring home gloves. Sometimes, it would even stop in the middle of eating to run off and grab one. Each time, it would head straight to the site, quietly observe, patiently wait for the right moment, snatch a glove, and make its way back home like nothing had happened. After discovering the truth, the woman was deeply moved by the cat's show of gratitude. She decided to officially adopt it, and as an apology to the workers, she washed the stolen gloves and gave them away to those who needed them. Her only wish now? That her cat would stop raiding the construction site, but this cat isn't the only one with a unique way of saying thanks. Take Juno, for example. Every day, she'd drop off little presents at her owner's back door, announcing her arrival with a loud meow. Over several months, she racked up a collection of over 1,700 items, everything from toys to clothes, and even some bizarre trinkets borrowed from neighbors. Before long, Juno became a bit of a neighborhood celebrity, famous for her quirky habit of bringing home gifts. But no matter how much random stuff she brought home, what meant the most to her was the adoration and unconditional love from her family. Another standout was the romantic stray who went the extra mile, delivering flowers to a woman every day. It even picked the best blooms. Eventually, the woman couldn't resist and, filled with affection, welcomed the sweet, thoughtful cat into her home. It's not unusual to hear about people receiving gifts from their cats. However, not all of their gifts are as charming as flowers or gloves. Plenty of cat owners have shared their horror stories online, screaming as their cats proudly drop off live mice, birds, or other small creatures, sometimes still squirming. And their cats? They stand there with heads held high, expectant eyes gleaming, and occasionally pawing at their prey, eagerly awaiting their owner's praise. We may never truly understand what's going through a cat's mind when it gives a gift, but according to scientists who study feline behavior, there's more to it than meets the eye. One popular theory is that cats think their human companions can't fend for themselves, so they step up to provide for the household. But when life is easy and full of comforts, hunting becomes more like a display of skill and a playful pastime. An even more interesting theory suggests that cats might bring back their prey in order to teach their owners how to hunt. But perhaps the simplest explanation is the closest to the truth. Cats bring these little gifts because they love us and want to share that affection in the only way they know how. That's all for today's story. See you next time.